friends, I'm Denise. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be starting some seeds and I'm going to be making my own seed starting containers using just recycled materials that I had around my house. I'm excited to give this a shot. I've got some seeds I want to get going today, and if you'd like an update on the things I planted last video, I'll be showing you all an update on those at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and jump in. So these are the supplies you'll need: some tape and then different containers of different sizes. You'll be seeing how I'm using each of these later. You'll need a push pin, some scissors, and of course the seeds that you want to plant. This first planter I'm making is really simple. I'm just taking this little pistachio container and all I'm going to do is poke some holes in the bottom. You could fit a couple seedlings in here because it's pretty large. So I think this will work great as a planter, and all it needs is some drainage holes. So go ahead and just poke holes with the push pin. You'll be surprised at how well this actually works for going through light plastic. You can see here it made pretty good holes. So all you want to do is go around and make holes throughout the whole bottom, and then you're done with this one. For this next seed starter, I'm using these old tea bag holders that were in this Lipton tea container, just like this. I thought that this would be a perfect size to try planting in. It is cardboard, so it will degrade over time. Anything you make out of cardboard will degrade over time, but my thinking is that it will hold up long enough to get some seedlings growing in it and then transplant them. But just keep that in mind whenever you're making anything out of cardboard. So as you can see, I'm just going to divide this one into two. I'm taking the side off of this wheat thins box and I'm going to just measure it and cut it to fit so that I can create two little pockets out of this one container. I ended up making two of these, so that gave me four little planting spots for seedlings. So we'll see how well these hold up in my garden. Next up, I'm using this large strawberry box. This is a great planting container because it already has holes in it, so I don't need to poke holes in it. All I'm going to do is divide it up so that when it comes time to take the seedlings out, I'm hoping that it will be easier to separate them out if I add little cardboard dividers in here to make little sections for each of them. So I'm just cutting up some pieces of cardboard to fit into the space, and then I'm also going to tape them in place because I found that they were falling over a little bit and I wanted them to be a little bit more sturdy for all of my plants. I was able to get 6 good sized planting spaces out of this one container, so I'm happy with that. And again, we'll see how well the cardboard holds up in the garden. For this next one, I'm going to use this Lipton tea box along with some paper towel rolls. You could also use toilet paper rolls. This is a method I saw somebody else use here on YouTube. I'll be sure to link their video in the description. But basically, I'm going to cut this cardboard tube into 3 pieces, large enough for a small seedling. First, I'm going to flatten it out really well and then cut it up into 3 pieces. I'm just roughly estimating, but you could measure if you want to be more precise. And of course, Winnie wanted to see what was going on and had to be the star of the video, so I had to nudge her along a little bit. Once I have one of the thirds, I went ahead and folded it in half again, lengthwise, I think that's called, so that it was in fourths. And this is going to allow it to be a square. So if you see when I unfold it here, it's a nice little square. And then all you need to do is cut some slits in the bottom. I cut mine about, I would say like an inch or so long. I'm not great with measurements, but again, if you wanted to make sure that these were all the same size, I would measure these out and make sure you're cutting them to the same length, but I'm not particular like that. So anyways, you just cut 4 slits along the bottom, and then you want to fold these in to get them to fold. There's Winnie again, of course. And you're going to fold in all of the slits so that you can then make a little box out of the bottom. You'll see what I mean in just a second. And then I taped up this box to make a little seedling planter. I also saw this person on YouTube whose video I watched, they took this little planter and they soaked the bottom in water. And then when it was finished, after it soaked for a little bit, it would stay in its final shape like that without the tape. So you could try that if you don't want to use tape, but I just wanted to use tape because it was quicker. So I ended up doing that for the rest of the paper towel rolls, and I got 6 little planters as well out of that. I was originally planning to put these into this Lipton tea box to hold them upright in the garden, especially because I didn't measure them, and so they were a little bit wobbly. If you measured out the lengths exactly, they would stay flatter easier. But then I found that that Lipton box was way too big, so I actually had this little tea box, fruit herbal tea box that would work just as well, and these ended up fitting really great in here. Here are all of the seedling planters that I ended up making. I got a good number out of these, and we'll see how well they hold up, but it's time to go ahead and get the seeds planted. So here are the seeds I'm planting today. We've got some rainbow Swiss chard, chives, sugar snap peas, and this heirloom romaine lettuce that I got from my library seed library. And I'm using my Patio Plus outdoor potting mix, which is what I just have on hand these days. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill up these containers and plant them with the seeds. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me today for this little planting journey and seed starting journey. I will be sure to update you all on how they're doing in a few weeks. And if you would like to learn about my other plants, let's go ahead and take a tour of my garden. So here are my seedlings going in my little drawer that I've converted into a planter. My green onions are doing really well. My other seedlings are growing. They are getting a little bit leggy. This is my mustard greens here, some ones that I planted earlier, and then my Swiss chard has kind of dampened off. So I think this might due to it being in partial shade. I'm having sunlight issues just because of the way our backyard is. So you can see here I have some other lettuce seedlings growing as well. The butter crunch that we planted last episode did sprout. You can see that there. So that's exciting. Nothing for the mint. No mint. I don't know how to get this to germinate. I'm really struggling with mint, which is funny because it's supposed to be the easiest to grow. But anyways, and nothing out of my potato planter yet, but stay tuned on that one. These are my zinnias. They're doing really well. They're really beautiful, beautiful blooms on here that I actually do need to deadhead, like this one here. I have some dead heads on here that are dying. I'm actually leaving those on the plant because I want them to mature so that I can get some seeds out of it. This is my marigold plant. It's actually doing really well. It's come back to life. I have some new blooms on here. And if you remember, this was actually dying from a spider mite infection. All I did was spray them off and it's doing so much better. My bell pepper plant has had a little bit of a setback, so it actually snapped in half when I was trying to spray some aphids off of it. I was really sad. And then I also have this weird thing going on with the leaves. I've discovered that I think it's some sort of pest, but it's not a pest that's super harmful. You can see right there where it's snapped in half, so I'm really sad about that. My basil that I planted last episode did sprout, so that's exciting. It seems to be growing well out front with more sunlight. And then I also have some peas that I planted out front as well. So we just planted some in the back, but I wanted to see how some might do in the front where they're going to get a little bit more sun. This is my trusty tomato plant. I need to work on restaking it. I have a video coming on that, so stay tuned. But I do have several tomatoes on here. That's really exciting. They're maturing pretty well. It's gotten pretty leafy. I think it's because I over fertilized it with all-purpose fertilizer instead of a tomato fertilizer, so it's encouraged more leaf growth, but that's okay. This is my geranium that my grandma gave me. It started growing, which I'm really excited about because it was having trouble being transplanted, and my trusty succulents are doing well as well. So thank you all so much for joining me today for this planting video, and I will see you all next time for another day in my garden. Sending lots of love to you all. Take care. Bye.